Herb. Herb is a plant. I mean, herbs are good for everything. Herb.
Welcome to Eugene Cannabis TV, made episode 633. We have our friends from Salem. We have Sonny and Peke. So appreciate you guys coming down, and you got your host right here, DanK, and we've got some stuff to talk about, the medical program, legalization, and legislature's going to go back in session, and we're waiting for a fight of our lives once again.
Well, you know, and the governor's talking about taking care of everybody, and she sure is not taking care of the Oregon medical marijuana patients.
No, it's true. Well, the state in general, to me, I think has always had a bad record of the whole marijuana thing ever since they implemented it in '98. And the legislature, to me, has always been trying to, not trying to help by any means.
Well, and they're using us, Dan. They're using us as a revenue for their toolbox.
Yep.
And the patients of the state of Oregon should not be in that manner, should not be used, because the rest of us are going to be there tomorrow. So that's what everybody should be thinking about. Even though you're not there today as a patient, tomorrow you're going to be the patient, and you'll be the one. It's abuse, you know.
And the program is designed to be self-sufficient, not a cash cow for the state. And that's what's happening. It's a cash cow for the state.
Well, when before the cannabis was legal, the state readjusted funds from the medical program to the other programs in the health department.
Right. Yeah.
They didn't ask if we wanted to get a rebate or anything. They're making all this money off of the taxes of the recreational cannabis. They don't want to help us, the patients. They put all these restrictions on the growers, and the patients don't have a grower now.
Yep, yeah, the medical program is dying on the vine, literally. And there's some efforts to try to save it and try to save our program, help patients out. One of the things we need is patients to get active. I mean, yes, unfortunately, a lot of our patients are really sick, and it's really hard, but same time, I could tell you amazing stories of people that are sick, and in fact, there's two sitting right beside me that are pushing forward with their medical ailments and still helping and trying to help other people. And that's what we need to do, because you know, you say, oh well, it's legal, we can kick back. Well, no, it's not. It's still not legal as far as recreational, because there's still penalty involved, and so it's just further decriminalized. There's a difference.
It should be a regular garden.
Right.
It should not be any different from your tomato or your corn or your cauliflower.
That's right. Now, Anthony Taylor with the CompassionateOregon.org, and check out that website, CompassionateOregon.org. He writes that the legislature, that there were 17 bills introduced so far, and there's another round to be released tonight also. And these are concerning concerning marijuana in general. Compassionate Oregon's bill establishing a medical use of cannabis board is HB 2198. The board will administer OMMP and take that away from OHA. It also increases the possession limit for patients to 6 pounds per plant and removes reporting from 12 plants regardless of where it is being grown. It moves bigger marijuana growers to the Department of Agriculture and registers them just like a hemp grower. He says we must do everything we can to keep OMMP growers away from OLCC, one of the largest law enforcement agencies in the state. And we must get all growers, whether it is medical, recreational, or hemp, under ag, and this bill is a step in that direction. With the mess created by OLCC in issuing 870 licenses, we can ill afford sending 27,000 medical growers their way. No. We must also get patient voices back. So if you are interested in helping, reach out to Compassion Oregon, and we'll put you to work. We are looking for interns to help. So if your school has a program that you can get credit for being an intern, please reach out to us. So again, that's compassionateoregon.org, and that was from Anthony Taylor.
I hope you people written this down and get in touch with Anthony. He's a good person. He's been fighting with us for ages.
Yep. And that's compassionateoregon.org. Don't forget the .org, nonprofit. And we have just got notice that the Mamas in Portland, which is one of the last nonprofit clinics where patients can go and get their medical marijuana card, they're closing the Portland office. They'll still be open in the Dalles, which is their home, and they'll still be in the Dalles, but no longer will they be in Oregon, Portland, excuse me. And then right on the heels of that, then we heard from our friend Chris, and he writes, today appears to be a day of sad news. I'm writing to inform the community that the Compassion Center on West 12th and Grant will be closing its doors on January 31st. The model may continue, but the physical footprint of that location will no longer be. With the grower fee quadrupled being the most cited reason for non-renewal, and other establishments having lower qualifying standards, we are finding it harder to serve with distinction as fees rise, as the number of patients able to handle the program as it is currently drop. There are items being considered, but the mission is to serve until we cannot, and to exit with dignity, if we are unable to continue. That being said, I would like to thank those who came before us, patients, doctors, staff directors, and board members. It has been an honor to follow in the footsteps of those who realized that there is more to weed than just greed. As one nonprofit clinic to another, we have respect for the example set by Mama Clinics and Mrs. Burbank. We are down but not out. You may see the banner rise again, or the people who served under it, still fighting for patients and access. May the opposition of overregulation, may the oppression of overregulation and denial of medication come to cessation. Thank you for your consideration. Donations or considerations may be received by the clinic in regards to the closing and storing needs and are welcome. They may be received on site or via our GoFundMe account. Please contact for further information, and thank you for your consideration. Respectfully, Chris McAllister, Compassion Center Board Secretary. And then following that was a note from Todd Delato. Todd Delato was up in Corvallis now. He wrote, as founder of Compassion Center, I'm sad to hear this news, but proud to have started something that has lasted this long, 15.5 years, and has been so effective at providing support, education, and medical services to patients who use cannabis as medicine. I'm grateful to the volunteers and staff that have carried on Compassion Center's mission for 10 years after I left and have maintained this vital pillar of support for Eugene area patients. I'm even sadder to see the greater challenges patients face with the loss of great organizations like Compassion Center and Mama's Clinics, the loss of dispensaries and growers transitioning to adult use, and the lack of interest by policymakers who think patients can be adequately served by adult use licenses. As medical cannabis businesses and individuals transition into the OLCC program, I sincerely hope we can build into our business models effective ways to support patients and the nonprofits who support them. Remember, many OMMB patients are the most seriously ill, financially challenged, and underserved people in the state. They are the most important reason for cannabis legalization and must be a top priority regardless of how much more profitable and less complicated it is to serve healthy adults. Well said.
Yep.
Thank you, Compassion Center volunteers and staff, for 15 years of service and dedication. The doors may be closing, but the difference we made in people's lives will live on. There have been numerous people who have honestly told me the Compassion Center flat saved their lives, and there are many more who can claim their lives were greatly improved and suffering greatly alleviated due to a Compassion Center volunteer helping them find an effective delivery method, providing the access to a cannabis-friendly doctor, giving free medicine in a time of need, listening to their problems, and just being there.
Very nice.
Here, here.
Yeah,
Very nice.
Yeah, that was from Todd Delato. So, and that's where we're at with the medical. And like I said, we need to fight. And one of our main organizations now is basically dissolved Oregon Green Free.
Well,
you
that's
know,
what's
they're all
gonna
over the
take.
state, had chapters and local meetings, and it was incredible. And I think Salem's still going.
Well, we're having meetings, not, you know, we don't have an office no more.
No, I know, but I'm talking about Oregon Green Free. They used to have their Salem meetings at a pizza parlor.
I haven't heard about
Yeah.
what they got going
But
on.
I know their website, and I keep reading to check, but a while back I noticed their website was down, and I was hoping it was just something temporary, but I don't know. Anyway, so what are you finding in Salem as far as patients and needs?
And it's all going away, just like, I mean, there's basically they can't get it together, you know. It's all, they're not going anywhere. They can't get a grower. Everybody's calling for growers because they were having medicine, they were able to take care of themselves and not have no problems. Now they're having problems and they don't got no grower, and so it's all upside down.
Yeah.
They can't go to the dispensaries
Because they
and
can't afford it.
the price that they
Right.
would
Yes. Yeah.
ask for the same quality medicine.
And the amounts of medicine they need, you know. So
It's just
it's
the
not
best.
work.
And I don't expect much relief from the legislature because I have their track record. Isn't a lot to say, you know.
right.
They've been stabbing the Oma people in the back.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, so it's so even though it seems like times are getting better, it's all good. I mean, yes, it is what they say, it is legalized, or at least it's further decriminalized, and that's a good thing. That's definitely a good thing. But we need to keep moving because this is a plan. It's a freedom issue. I always
Right.
that's my whole thing, and I keep coming back. It's basically just a freedom issue. You don't even have to use pot to support it because it's a freedom issue. If you don't like it, then don't use it. It's like they say abortions. If you don't want an abortion, then don't have one.
Exactly.
But, well, that's great. And these guys came all the way down to Salem, people, and think about that. Here's this nasty winter, and they braved the weather to come down and see us, so I
Yeah.
appreciate
Well,
it.
there's
That
a lot
was-
going on, you know, with all
Yeah.
the stuff you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Oh, yeah.
And like the governor was on TV talking about how she's going to take care of all of us, and she ain't allowing nobody to be left out in the cold and not be represented. Well, I don't know. I see the patients not really being represented, and they are being left out in the cold, and everybody should be writing the governor and saying, how come the Oregon medical marijuana patients are being left out in the cold?
Yep. Oh, yeah, definitely. And we definitely like the people out there in the audience. Come by the show, just like Sonny and Peke did. Come on by, and you don't have to come on the show, but we'd sure love to have you on the show. Just come by and visit.
Well, you're the reason we have a show up in Salem. And a live phone-in show on Friday night from 7 to 7:30, 503-588-6444. Please call.
Put it in your calendar like I finally did, because I keep forgetting. But we're going to be back. This is only the first half, so we're going to be right back. Welcome back to the second half of Eugene Cannabis TV, episode 633. You got DanK right here as your host, and we have our special guests. We have Sonny and Peke from Salem. Came down and be on our show, and they have their own show. As Peke was just telling us at the end of the first half there, and they have a call-in show on Friday nights. And please take it from me. Put it in your Google Calendar so you can set a reminder to buzz you. You know, that's what I finally did. So maybe I'll get around to get on and calling these folks. But they got a half-hour show, and give them support because they're out there for the patients. And,
well, and if you want to come on down. Come on
yeah.
down. Get there at 6:30. Get there at 6:30, so that gives us enough time to get your mics and everything together. Because at 7, we're on and it's live. So, you know, if you want to come on, you know, come on down. I mean, we just want to see that people, the cannabis patients, and I mean, there's so much going on. You know, that's like we're talking. The OMA is getting beat. It's getting beat. And they're the ones that, you know, back in '98 when we got the law and the patients started getting some good, there was so much good happening. You know, Dan, it was just one thing right after another after another. I mean, so many patients in the state of Oregon just grew. It grew. I mean, the offices grew up there in Portland. They had to get bigger offices because there was more patients. Well, that's because the patients were getting taken care of by the growers. They were able to have a quality of life, and having this quality of life and having some medicine and being taken care of by somebody who's not ripping them off, and you know, it was working out.
And this is before we could even exchange money for it.
Right.
Right? Now think about that. That's amazing. That we had a system. In fact, I remember John Sajo said, and I'll never forget it, about measuring 74. And by the way, I'm wearing my Yes on 74 shirt. This is the actual campaign that passed the OMMP. But I remember that John stated, he said OMA was OMMP, well, OMA at that time, but anyway, it was written to pass, not to work.
Right.
And so it passed, and then we had to make it work. But we actually ended up with a pretty good program in spite of the state, and it could have been a lot better with the help of the state. But anyway, that's where we're at now, and it's just constant. Every time the legislature goes in session, it's a fight trying to keep what we have and trying to correct what's wrong. And when the people of the state of Oregon voted for the legislature to meet every year, I was really disappointed, because it used to be every other year. So at least you could figure on, you didn't have to fight until every other year, you know. But now they meet every session, every year, so now we got to fight every year.
Right.
And we don't have the money to fight, you know, we're patients. So we drive from here to Salem, it's 60 miles, 120-mile round trip. So I go up there to testify, and they give you 3 minutes to talk. Unless they're short on time, which they always are, then they cut it down to, I think, 2 minutes. And their minds are already made up,
Right.
you know. It's just an effort futility because their minds are already made up, but at least you feel better if you got to say something, you know.
Well, we have to show that we are still, that it's, you know, we have this right. You know, it's like one of the things Pete put up about what number was that? 20?
Measure 20 of the Oregon State Constitution. Everybody should be treated equally because we all are citizens of this state.
And that's in the Constitution of Oregon, and we're not being treated equally by being charged more than other people that, you know. I mean, you know, these are little things that it might not mean much to others, but to the patients that are trying to have a quality of life, that are using cannabis for their medicine, that are actually using it, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, these are the things that's not recreational for these patients.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know, when I had the normal phone line where people would call, they'd go to the National Normal website, look up Eugene, Oregon, and then there'd be our chapter. So they'd be calling me, and it was probably the best part of that whole thing was helping people that called.
Right.
People want to know, how do they get their card? How do they find a doctor? How do they, you know, anything you need to know is, and more often than not, they need a lawyer because they got busted. You know, I got a lot of those calls too, and it was really great to be able to help people. And that's one of the reasons that's one of the things I didn't like about having to break up our normal chapter was we don't even get to do that anymore, but I'm still getting phone calls.
Right.
And they're getting them off of your website.
Right. Well, you know, and we get those phone calls. This, you know, the latest one was this man worried about his guns. You know, he's worried about his guns getting taken away and his rights and his freedoms and, you know, his cannabis, but at the same time, his quality of life. He dropped half of his pills. He feels better than he's ever felt than he has in his life by using the cannabis that he thought that he would never use because his friends got him using it. And so now he's using it, and it's the best thing he's ever had.
Yeah, and that was my experience. People would call in, and they never thought that they would ever have anything to do with pot. And then they come down with some kind of an ailment, and then they find out that pot's so good for it, and then they try it, and then they're so astounded how well it works that they become advocates. I've seen that over and over again.
Well, they get healed, and they don't have the side effects as the pharmaceutical drugs, which may hurt your immune system, which is something natural. Sonny talks about the cannabinoids that are in the body.
Our cannabinoid receptors. Well, because those receptors in our body need the cannabis that we feed it. Because the cannabis that we feed will take care of the body, you know, and the receptors. Everybody does not know that our body has receptors for cannabis, you know, and that's one thing we like to try and teach on the show is some kind of education that people don't know that they need to be talking to their kids about, and their kids need to know that cannabis is not bad, you know, and that the drug war and the reefer madness and all that, it's still going on with all of this supposed to be freedoms and laws that are good. Well, you know what, there's still a lot going that's not good, and we got to let people know that, you know what, stand up for it. And it's like the Parents for Pot. There's a group out there, Parents for Pot.
I've forgotten about that.
And you know what, they're a great group.
Write that down, Dan.
And anybody that, if you know some people out there for Parents for Pot, make sure that you stand up, you help them, you talk, you know, I mean, they need to be supported. These are the kind of groups that us cannabis, you know, that's how we do it. You know, we support each other, you know, and it's too easy because we have the love that it takes to support each other because we know it works. The cannabis works for our quality of life, for our medicine, and it ain't just for me or just for you or just for you, it's for all of us.
Quality of life.
Oh yeah, definitely, and freedom too.
Well, and it's for people we don't even know.
Oh yeah.
You know, we're doing it for people we don't even know.
Yeah.
We just need it to be done so people have that option. You know, because there's a lot of people out there that might not ever use it, but there's a lot of people out there that might need it, that need to have that option to be able to use it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that's always amazed me. You know, I started out just as just legalized so we can smoke it freely, you know, and then I became aware of the industrial once I got into it. And I thought, wow, it's amazing. Then the medical thing, and then I started talking to people. And by the way, people that aren't support medical marijuana will say, well, that's just anecdotal evidence, you know. Well, to me, when they say anecdotal, that sounds like a nice way of saying, well, it could be all in your head. And the patients I've known, you may be patients, but I wouldn't be telling them that it's all in their head.
Well, and you know, it's no different than other medicines that the doctor gives you to make you feel good when you have these conditions that are bad for you. You know, and those conditions are bad, and they give you these pills, but those pills comes with side effects, and like one of the side effects this lady was telling me about on the phone the other day, it was killing her immune system, and she said, do you know what it means when it's killing my immune system? Well, yeah, it means that all the good things in your body that fights off all the cancers and all the bad stuff going on in your body, it just killed it, so it ain't gonna work no more. So the only way you're gonna be able to be taken care of is by pharmaceuticals, you know? And that's what it really comes down to, and people don't understand that because they've never been sick. See, you gotta get sick to understand how your body works So you understand how these pills are working on your body and all those side effects, and cannabis don't do that to you.
Well, 94, I mean, Measure 91 was a few weeks before Measure 91 passed. I was talking to a hospice patient, and she told me that her doctor told her that if she continued to smoke pot, then he wasn't going to be able to give her meds, her pain meds.
They still do that.
Yeah,
too,
and she asked me, she said, well, if Measure 91 passes, will that help me? And I said, it'll help in the long run, but it isn't going to help you at all, and unfortunately.
And it hasn't.
And when I left, and this, I'm not exaggerating, when I left, she had a tear on her cheek, you know. I mean, man, it was heartbreaking, you know. I mean, how could anybody do that to someone, you know? I mean, it's just inconceivable to me, but that's reality, so here we are.
And that's, you know, and it's happening everywhere out there. I know someone in my personal family who called me the other day and says, you know, they're not letting me have any more cookies because they won't sign my whatever the particular narcotic was that they were giving him for his knee and whatever other issues he had. He said because they found the cannabis and it must have been from the cookies I ate. Well, of course it was from the cookies he ate, but he said the pills, he's dropping his pills, he's lowering the amount of pills he's taking, and his doctor didn't care about that. His doctor cared that he had been taking some cannabis. And
yeah, well, the good thing is we're getting more and more states with legal medical programs, and so that's the good news. So hopefully, I mean, it's going too slowly for sure, but we have states like Arkansas that's getting medical, you know, wow.
Right.
But at the same time, they just throw a low ball into the whole thing, or they're requiring what is it, producers to get $1 million bond or have $1 million. Anyway, it's about $1 million. It's unbelievable. It's like a real monkey wrench that the government is thrown into it.
It's like back in '37 when they put the tax act on the cannabis.
Right, that's what I said. It's yeah, we've been paying taxes since 1937. So anyway, appreciate you guys coming. We got to end of the show, and we'll see you next time.
Get better, folks. Get out of the hospital.